Hello, welcome to my channel, Wing Spiritual Clarity. My name's Wendy Wing. I'm doing a psychic tarot reading for you, tuning into the day's energy, seeing what divine messages of guidance come through. This is a general reading, so take what resonates and leave the rest. All right. Hope this reading finds you happy and healthy and enjoying your journey to becoming more and more yourself. All right, the overall energy of today's reading is the Eight of Pentacles in reverse. Someone's not working. Something's not working. Can't get to work, doesn't know how to work, doesn't know how to get to work. Could be a financial loss. Doesn't feel like a financial loss. It feels like I'm describing someone who's unable to work or doesn't know how to just get to work. Just start whatever this is. Feels like whoever this is, that there's this inspiration, there's ideas, but then there's just getting to work, bringing it down into those ideas out of here, out of a fantasy and ideas, and bring them into the base chakra and getting to work. Testing those ideas out. See if you can bring them. I keep getting this grounding into reality. Something feels like those ideas aren't tested. They could be wonderful ideas, but you got to get to work and see if they work. Yeah, Judgment reverse, Page of Pentacles, and then Knight of Cups. It feels like there's a fantasy, there's an idea. But whoever this is, they don't have the expansive energy, the judgment. Feels like this person's criticizing. Lacks judgment, can't bring the idea into this reality. Feels like they're afraid of the expansion, of the change, of learning a different way. It's weird. It's very interesting energy. And it keeps everything kind of in idea space, fantasy. Feels like this type of person's trying to get others interested in this idea, it's an idea. It's so, until it's pulled into this reality, it stays as a fantasy. Not real. Why is this coming up? Who's in this energy? Afraid to make the changes, of trying it. Feels like this energy is trying to convince everyone of this fantasy, of this great idea, but they're not willing to just test it, bring it into this reality. This is a lot. How about a more pithy explanation of what's going on? Who's got this idea? Eight of Wands. That was wild how that flipped out. This is flow state. This is taking action. This energy, it feels like it needs action. Following your highest excitement. Pointing all your ducks in the same row. Focusing on what you want. Following your excitement with action, not with more talk and ideas and fantasizing. It feels like whatever this is needs action to make happen. Instead of trying to convince everybody of this idea, get to work, kind of is what I'm getting. What a specific and unusual message. All right. The hidden blessing is the Queen of Pentacles. Resources. This is a very resourceful energy. Someone who's trained their focus on what it is that they want. And then they take action and they create that for them. The Queen of Pentacles is such a great, that is a blessing. So I get the feeling that, viewer, you've got an idea, but it feels like it's internal and it's an idea, but it needs the grit of just putting the work in, or finding the people to do the work, the resources. So a lot of times, if you don't perceive that you have resourcefulness, it looks like stability, groundedness, that you can find that you will receive the resources that you need. Can you start this idea now? Are you imagining that you need more than what you really need to get started? It feels like you've got what you need. And if you have a block, a belief that you need this or that, is that true, or is that block stopping you from just getting to work, making things work? Just starting to bring this into this reality. It's okay if you fail. It's okay. Learn from your failures. Wow. Empress. And then Four of Pentacles. Holy cow. You have this ability to go from Queen of Pentacles. If you'll let go of whatever beliefs it is of what you think you need before you can get started. It looks like this, you've got access to divine feminine energy. There's a lot of feminine energy here. So I'm not seeing anything blocking your ideas, but there's something about then bringing it into this reality and letting go of whatever those limiting beliefs are. It feels like whatever that is, well, I don't have this and I need, well, then you don't need it. If it's not showing up, then you don't need it. How can you work around whatever those limiting beliefs are and just get to work building whatever this is? It feels like it's a really good idea, but it's not tested. Can you be adaptable? Can you take action and get to work? And because it's only when you start bringing things into this reality and start taking action that the universe starts communicating back. And so if you get a not that, then that's information, not that direction. Don't do it that way. Then you keep trying and see what does work and where things are flowing, and you keep working in that direction. There's something here about letting go of some beliefs that are keeping you small and keeping you limited. If you're trying to convince others that you're capable, then it feels like you're wasting your time trying to convince others of this potential instead of just doing it. Show people what you're capable of. If you believe in this so much, then you do it. You put the work in. You put the effort in. It feels like you're operating from your divine feminine, which is, it feels like new potentials, new things that you're birthing into this reality that other people haven't perceived as possible yet. And so it might be hard to convince people of this. So maybe why you can't convince people is you're not sure because you haven't done it. You haven't brought it in. But once you start doing it, and whatever this is, and building it and showing yourself how to do it, then you're going to attract people who are like, holy cow, look at what they're doing. That's amazing. Then you're going to attract interest. Does that make sense? All right. What you're leaving behind is Six of Swords. What you're leaving behind is moving to calmer waters. Usually, Six of Swords is a good card. Moving away from conflict, moving to calmer waters, moving to healed nervous system. But in this, it feels like you might be leaving behind being in this energy of not trying anything, of not putting anything out there, of just kind of, who's in this energy? What is this person leaving behind? Ace of Wands, reverse, Seven of Pentacles. This feels like I can't do it on my own, so I'm just not going to do it. It feels like you're leaving behind kind of stinking thinking that gets you to not go for whatever it is that you want to create, whatever idea that you have. It also feels like in the past you were trying to create something that you weren't excited about. So I don't work with other people that don't excite me. I'm not interested in opportunities that aren't for my highest excitement. I don't try to, well, maybe this will lead to that. No. Excitement contains all the information. It lets me know. My lower chakras, then the excitement from my solar plexus lets me know this is a possibility. This is a good potential, if not just for the experience of it. And it feels like there's been this tediousness, waiting for things to happen, and you're leaving that behind, just waiting, but it's not. It feels like you're leaving behind a lack of excitement, a lack of anything really working and happening, and giving up. That's the Six of Swords. It feels like giving up before you even try something. Giving up before you even, I don't know if this idea is a great idea. Let me take 10 minutes every day, and what's one thing I can do with that 10 minutes to learn, to actually see and take a next step and start bringing it into this reality, taking action. All right. How to get the most of this energy is the Nine of Cups. Yes, being in alignment. So the trick of the Nine of Cups is this person is receiving blessings because they've already received blessings. So once you've reached alignment and you are in alignment and in that flow state, loving life, feeling blessed, then you just stay in that energy and more blessings come in. So if you haven't experienced what you're wanting to create, so you don't have that foundation of, oh, I know what it's like to be blessed, so I'll just be in that energy. I don't know, whatever this is that you're wanting to create, staying in that energy, focusing on what you want, staying in your alignment. Because when you are aligned, you are vibrating at your frequency. You're sending off a signal that's very clear. And people can find you. Energies can find you because you are resonating and in that flow state, which just is very attractive and attracts more blessings. With the orange and red around the border, which tells me this is lower chakras, even though it's a cups, 9 of cups, it affects your creativity and what you can bring into this reality and experience through your base chakra, through your physical real world. So being in alignment, being in a blessed state helps you create more of those blessings. And that's how to get more of what you want, is being in that energy. Okay. Bunch of cards came out. High Priestess. Being very intuitive. Consciously. It feels like you've got unlimited potential. The High Priestess has no roof over her head, so she has unlimited potential of what she can create. So what I'm getting here is once you find you're very intuitive, you've got unlimited potential. I think that's why you're so excited. You can tune in to this energy. You can perceive that there is an opportunity that you really want for yourself, wanting to create. 2 of Cups and 4 of Cups are your challenge to this energy. Partnership. I'm seeing a partnership where that didn't go as expected, that someone lost the taste of, lost the interest of, sailed away. It feels like there's some belief, again, coming up that you need someone else to validate that this is this potential. It doesn't look like anyone else is validating whatever this is that you want to create. They're not interested. I think instead of trying to find others who can understand what it is that you're wanting to create, your challenge is to trust your higher self, to attune to the greater part of who you are that's at a different vantage point, that can see where you are, that is you, that wants you to get what you want, but you've got to quiet down to be in alignment and attunement so you can hear those messages from your higher self and trust those messages. So part of this, what I'm seeing is less about what you want to create and more about learning how to attune to your higher self, how to listen to those quiet, you have to be in an aligned, quiet space because your higher self isn't the loudest. The loudest energies are anger, pain, fear. Those are very loud and distorted energies. When you are aligned in your loving life and feeling blessed, and there's a subtle, it feels like you're able to then attune to more subtle energies and messages. But you've got to put yourself into this alignment consciously and purposely, so you receive those messages and those guidance more frequently. Meditation helps with that. Sometimes for me, running, going for a trail run really helps quiet the loud stuff so I can attune back to my body, to my breath, and attune to my higher self. So whatever gets you in alignment and keeps you in there. Alignment is not something you achieve, and once you've achieved it, then you get a degree and you're aligned. Alignment is a constant moving target because world is changing, you're changing, and so you have to re-find yourself every day. Where am I now? And be okay with where you are. All right. Moving on, what's supporting you is the Ten of Cups in reverse. Unhappiness, like a lot of unhappiness, is actually supporting you. It feels like you're coming out of or leaving unhappiness, a huge upset. Disappointment, hurt. It's working, it's supporting you. Page of Swords in reverse. If you allow it to. This feels like, if this is external, then it feels like there's someone, maybe there's always been someone who this feels like scapegoat energy. Viewer, have you been a scapegoat? There's some projection energy here. Someone doesn't want you to be happy and go after what you want because what? They want your energy. They benefit from you staying limited. Okay, that's if this is exterior. If this is interior, something within you. Might be both for some of you. It's a limiting perspective, seeing things the same way in a negative point of view, which is creating more negativity. There's something here, a story about not having support, not having care from others that's keeping, it feels like you're breaking through, showing yourself that this, and maybe others, but maybe proving to yourself that the limitations that have been projected onto you are not true. But instead of trying to convince others, it feels like the message here is you got to show people what you're capable of. Not tell them, not get them aligned, but just do to change this. Yeah, with the Hanged Man coming out as a challenge to this energy, there's some new perspective. Something needs to like click in, a different perspective to get you out of that Hanged Man. I can't do it. I don't have what it takes, whatever those limitations are. It feels like the belief is at the root of it, and if you want to change this, and if that's what it feels like, you really want to change this, and so the challenge is getting a perspective shift. I'm choosing to be happy despite what I've gone through, instead of everything I've gone through and I can't, is just going to create more, right? And so how can you shift out of some type of mentality that some type of story and belief of why you can't do it and nobody. So first of all, that's at the root. If you've got a story that people don't believe you, that you're unhappy, that people, and you perpetuate it by telling it and speaking it out, you're making things more difficult. You're making it more solid. You're creating the obstacles that you do not prefer. So it looks like what's supporting you is a perspective shift. Some different, like seeing something differently, something clicking, and not being stuck and unable to move past whatever that story is or those beliefs are. It feels like what's supporting you is a perspective shift, seeing something differently. And then instantly you're like, oh, I get it. I don't know what that is for each of you. All right, moving on. What to be mindful of. The Fool in reverse. Recklessness. Throwing spaghetti at the wall, seeing what sticks. It feels like what you do want is the Fool card. To take a leap of faith in a new direction. Try something new. Figure things out. The Fool card has, on the original image, he has tattered sleeves because he's done this Fool card before, because he has taken leaps of faith in a new direction, untested. And so he recognizes that it's okay to be perceived as foolish and trying something that others have not tried, and not allowing how others are perceiving you to affect you wanting to go after what you desire. Fool card in reverse is how it showed up in this reading. And that's, to me, it's repeating patterns, recklessness. So when you break a pattern, when you break a belief system, when you start operating in ways that you haven't before, it takes a lot of courage to break free. What's going on with this recklessness? Queen of Pentacles, she showed up upright in Hidden Blessing, and now she's showing up with her back turned in what to be mindful of. Being reckless, not having resources, not being grounded, not being focused on what it is that you want. If you're focusing on what you don't want, then you're going to get that, right? What you focus on grows. What you talk about grows even bigger and faster. So what you're thinking about, where you're focusing on, you're growing that. So if it's a belief system that you do not prefer, if it's a story you don't like, if it's a role you don't like, then focusing on it and talking about it is making it more solid, more large, right? So focus on what you want, not what you don't want. Not spiritual bypassing. Not, la la, I don't hear anything that you're saying. I'm only listening to good things. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about not focusing on what you don't want to see grow. So the best way to demonstrate that is through the story of you're on a mountain bike, you're going down a trail, you're going down a wonderful trail on your mountain bike, and all of a sudden, in the middle of the trail is a huge boulder, right smack dab in the middle of the trail. If you focus on the obstacle and focus and, oh my gosh, there's a rock, I don't know why is that rock there? It's never been there. Then you go right into it. What you're focusing on, you steer into. Right? And I'm not talking about going down the trail blindly. I don't see any obstacles. I don't see anything. Everything's clear, because that's not, that doesn't work either. What I'm suggesting is you're riding down that trail, you clock that there's a boulder in the trail. So you are clocking it, but you're not focusing on it. The moment you recognize an obstacle, then you start looking for the solutions. Do you go left around it? Do you go right around it? Do you bunny hop over it? There's options there. But when you focus on what you don't want, you steer right into it. You get more. And so what I'm seeing here, what the message is to stop focusing on what you don't want. Stop telling the stories of your limitations, of your difficulties, and start showing up, doing the work to create this. Follow your excitement. Stay grounded. Beautiful. Okay, with 3 of Cups reversed, 9 of Swords, and Magician. It feels like a lack of support from friends and family. Maybe this has been a chronic issue. Maybe you are used to supporting everyone else, and it doesn't feel like you receive a lot of help from friends and family that I'm perceiving. It feels like if they can't perceive it, if they can't perceive that you can do this, if they don't validate what this is that you want to do, then it keeps you stuck in a comfort zone with people that aren't for you. They're not celebrating you. Maybe you're used to that. Growing up in a household where it took me decades, I think into my 50s, before I finally realized that, oh my gosh, my family of origin, they didn't like me. That wasn't love. That wasn't care. That was neglect, profound neglect, abuse, control, manipulation. But I was so used to that. I was so used to being in a family of origin with parents and a sibling who didn't care for me. They didn't love me in a way that they would say it's loving, with the neglect and the abuse and the trauma. And so I got comfortable with that. So I attracted friends who didn't even like me, relationships, people who didn't even like me, but it felt very familiar because that's what my family of origin was like. And so once I healed from that, then it allowed me to manifest. Once I realized that my job isn't to try to convince everyone to care about me, to like me, to support me. If you have to beg for support, you're begging the wrong tree. You're trying to get something from people who just can't give you what you're looking for. And so just recognizing, I think it took me a while to realize, oh my gosh, they don't like me. Instead of trying to heal the connections, I just let it go. And I found that I could love my family from afar, unconditionally, but I'm unable to love them when we're close, when we have a connection, because they don't like me. And I like me, and I love me. And I don't want to be around people who don't support me and don't love me. And it looks like what whatever this is that you're wanting to create, you're recognizing you're not going to allow unsupportive family, unsupportive friends to deter you from what you want. It looks like you're being inspired to create what you prefer. Instead of waiting for permission, you're just taking action. So that's your reading. I hope this was helpful. Thank you all so much for your comments and support through the comment section and liking these videos so more people can find them. I'm doing an extended reading. There's a link in the description box below. It says extended reading here. So if you're interested, if this reading has really resonated for you, you can click on that link. It takes you right to Patreon, where part 2, where I'll be looking at health, relationships, creativity, new opportunities, and career and finance. So I'll see you over there if it aligns with you. If not, have an amazing rest of your day. Thank you.